Alright, so now we are going to begin adding our shading, and we are going to be doing this one square at a time. So once your contour line is finished up on your entire drawing, you can begin doing your shading. So I'm going to make sure my viewfinder is on top of my square, over here and over here on the same square, and then I'm going to begin my shading. So like I said before, and like we've done on our worksheets, it's important to consider the direction that the hair goes in. So as you can see, the dog I'm drawing has hair coming out from above his eye that comes kind of at an angle. So that's how I'm drawing it. And then here's a little bit of the top of his eye over here. I also like to draw to shade kind of a foundation like layer of one lighter value sometimes, just because that helps me that I can go in and add more, but I have something to work with. So this, make sure that you're working with the curves of your animal. So right here is the top of the eye, and the fur curves around that. So I'm going to be conscious of that while I'm shading. And then the ear this starts to come outwards, so I'm looking at that when I'm drawing my hair. And then it also starts to come down. So my dog has short hair, so I'm kind of trying to do some shorter strokes, but if you have an animal with longer hair, then you could you would have longer strokes. And then I have part of the ear coming off over here. So now I kind of have like a little bit of a foundation to work on, and now I can start to go in and look at the major shapes and start to add my values. So as you can see, where the ear is a darker value that I'm going to go start to add in. And you can always use your value scale during this to be able to match up where you think, what values you think the colors are. So this color is a lot darker, so I'm going to add on and make my shading even darker. And I'm doing this just by adding more layers, not by pressing any harder. So I'm just adding more layers to try to get to that darkness. And this starts to go kind of outwards. And then this is darker too. So it's just a slow process that you're going to take your time matching what you see. So I have a little bit of dark part right here, and then also that continues on above the eye. And this is a little bit darker. And if you can't see it probably super well in the video, but there's a little bit of a lighter part on the eye, so in order to make that pop, I'm going to make it darker around it so that that line will then show up even more. So it's just slowly taking your time, adding in those different values. Also, it's important to pay attention to your edges. So as you can see, I have fur, so I'm going to be looking exactly at how the fur is coming off the body and adding those details in to make it look a little more realistic. And if you notice, I'm constantly moving my paper around just so that I can get at a better angle to be able to go along with the direction that the fur goes in. So I'm trying to match kind of some of those little hairs that I see coming off of the dog's head. So also there's a little bit more. It's just taking your time to look at those, see those darker values. And then another important tool that you can use is your eraser. So you can use your eraser to lighten up areas that you need to lighten. And I would suggest taking a piece of paper and rubbing your eraser on it, on its side, so that it flattens it out and makes it a little more crisp, and also so that it gets rid of some of that pencil mark on it, so it's a little more clean. So if I had an area that I needed a little bit lighter, like this part of the eye for instance, I could go in and add more in there. And then if this was needed to be lighter, I can use this to kind of just go in and take away some of that pencil, just to add a little bit more dimension that you can see. And then maybe above the eyebrow. And then go back in and add in more detail. So it's just taking your time, working box by box to add the shading.